My name is Wayne Richardson. I'm Essex County District 2 Vice President of the Freeholder Board. I want to welcome you here tonight. To the County Exec, Joe DiVincenzo, constitutional officers, my fellow freeholders, who all will be introduced a little bit later. To our honorees and all who have assembled on this fine day, good afternoon. On behalf of the board and our freeholder president, Brendan Gill, who sends his well wishes and warm regards, I welcome each of you to the 16th annual Essex County Celebrates Youth event. Today we have assembled to recognize the future of Essex County. Our youth, our county is made up of such diversity and talent, and today we are taking the time to recognize our amazing young people who have accomplished so much at such a young age. We commend each of you for your work. Let's give our honorees a round of applause. So at this time, we have a special young man who is going to perform the Star Spangled Banner. His name is Jacob Malachi Apia. Did I do it? Yeah. Come on up. Let's welcome him.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight and the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and of the free and the home of the brave?
Another round of applause for that young man who's representing Montclair High School. He's a senior, and he does it very well. Thank you so much. You're up. Freeholder Sebo, yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Pat Siebold. I'm a freeholder at large. So at this time, I'd like to take a moment to introduce the members of the Freeholder Board who are present. First, we have Freeholder Len Luciano. We have Freeholder Vice President Wayne Richardson, who already spoke. And we have Freeholder Bobby Mercado. I don't think I missed anyone. I'd like to introduce a few special people who are here with us tonight. First of all, we have Roger Leone, who was the superintendent of the Newark Public Schools. Stand up. And also with us is Annette Richardson, who was the Chief Education Officer for the Mayor's Office. I hope I didn't miss anyone. And Freeholder Carlos Pomares. At this time, I'm going to introduce Assemblywoman Ileana Pindor Marin, who's going to speak on behalf of our County Executive, Joe DiVincenzo. Assemblywoman does a wonderful job. She is the chair of the Budget Committee in the Assembly, which is a very, very difficult job. And she does a wonderful job working on the budget for all of us here in New Jersey. So, Assemblywoman Pintor Marin.
Probably going to owe Pat a lot of money for saying that, but I really bring remarks on behalf of the county executive. He apologizes for not being here today, but obviously he wants to thank the Freeholder Board for honoring what makes Essex so special, and that's our youth here today. So to all of you here today, congratulations. You are really what makes Essex County so special. You hold the future. I just want to tell you a little bit of a story. So Freeholder Pat Siebold was kind enough to say a few words about a little bit of my background, but I just want to share something with you guys. I'm the first generation for Portuguese American immigrants. My mom has a 3rd grade reading level, and my dad wanted nothing more but to go to high school. So for all of you guys to be where you're at, to really strive to do the best that you can be, you guys are what continues to be the American dream. So from my family to yours, from the county executive to all of you, we congratulate you and we honor you, and enjoy your special day. Congratulations.
At this time, I am honored to make our first presentation for today's Essex County Celebrates Youth event. Please welcome Benjamin Levitt from Livingston, New Jersey, with a round of applause. And just so you know, Benjamin Levitt is from my hometown, where I live, Livingston, New Jersey. Benjamin Levitt was born in Livingston and is a senior at Livingston High School. After graduating this year, he will be recruited by the athletic department of Ohio State University for fencing. Benjamin is captain of the Livingston High School fencing team, where his team, the Lancers, won the District 3 championship. They also won state squads in Sabre and the prestigious Cetrullo Invitational. Did I pronounce it right? Yes, Sabre, okay. He finished the regular season with losing only one of his 72 bouts. And was named Boys Fencer of the Year for 2019 by NJ.com. Individually, he finished second at the state individuals and was selected into New Jersey First Sabre Fencing Team by NewJersey.com and NJISFA. During his high school fencing career, Benjamin was selected twice by the U.S. Fencing Association into the All-American High School's first fencing team. Outside of high school fencing, he participated in many international and national competitions where he earned top 16 finishes in the Cadet World Cup in Poland, a silver medal in the 2018 Pan American Cadet Championship, and most recently, a top 8 finish in the Junior North American Cup, leading his club team to the junior team gold title at the 2019 Junior Olympics. So, on behalf of the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders, I hereby congratulate and commend you for being such an outstanding young man and for being honored during the 2019 annual Essex County Celebrates Youth. And if you would, Benjamin. And if you would, Benjamin, say a few words and then call your parents up.
Yeah, well, first of all, this season wouldn't have been possible without my parents sitting right over there. I just thought a round of applause for them. And then the amazing coaching staff at Livingston High School. My coach, George Janto, right over there. Yeah. And then just everybody, my teammates and everybody who helped me along this whole entire season and throughout my whole entire high school fencing career. And I like to just call up my parents and my coach to take a photo.
And perhaps your coach would like to say a few words. Coach? Parents?
My name is George Janto, and I coached the Livingston High School fencing team, boys and girls, since 2011. It's my last year, and I went out a winner. So I'm I owe it all to him. Ben he's an amazing kid, and he deserves any accolade that he gets. He works hard, he's humble. In an era and in a sport where the top fencers don't normally come to high school practices or participate in the mundane part of the sport because they're in clubs and they get private lessons and other things, Ben showed up every day because he dedicated his senior year to making Livingston High School fencing something to be considered by the fencing community in New Jersey. And just for those of you who don't know, New Jersey is the only state in the union that has high school fencing at the level that we do have. So this is a big deal. And he was just tremendous. We had a sad day when he lost his only bout. But it didn't matter. With Ben's help, he just was amazing all year round. And just a little story. He came to practice every day, and we had 4 girls, little girls. They must have been 4 foot 9 inches tall. 4 of them. They were steadfast friends, and they all wanted to become fencers, and they wanted to become saber fencers, which is the weapon that Ben fences. And he religiously every day worked with these young ladies to get them not necessarily to make their skill set, but to develop a sense that this was a great sport and they should pursue it. And I think that says about everything that I can say about them. Great kid, deserves every accolade. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And before I sit down, I'd just like to recognize that former freeholder Carol Clark has joined us.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Mercado, and I'm the freeholder in District 1, which covers the East Ward of Newark, the North Ward, and parts of the Central, West, and South Ward. I also like to make honorable mention today for my colleague who is not here, could not make it today, freeholder Rufus Johnson. And today was dear to him because we're going to honor the team that he is alma mater to. So he could not be here. He is alumni of Eastside, and he sends his sentiment as well as well wishes to the team and the school. At this time, I would like to invite the head coach, Anthony Tavares, and the assistant coach, John Thomason, to, to the podium, who led Eastside High School basketball team to victory this season. Please, let's give him a big round of applause. Let me share a few highlights from the commendation, and afterwards we are going to invite the team to introduce your team as well as say a few words. Eastside High School boys basketball team won the 2019 NJSIAA Group 4 Boys Basketball Championship and were also the 2019 Essex County Championships. The team finished with its outstanding 2018-19 season ranked as the number 16 in the state of New Jersey and the state's number 1 Group 4 team with a stellar overall record of 29-5. They were also the Chatter All-Essex County second team. In addition, co-head coaches Anthony Tavares and assistant John Thomason were chosen as the NewJersey.com State Coaches of the Year. Let's give them a round of applause. They were also chosen as Essex County Coaches of the Year and the Sideline Chatter Essex County Coaches of the Year as well. This afternoon, I am proud to present the Eastside High School basketball team with the board's commendation during the 2019 annual Essex County Celebrates Youth event. Coaches, please say a few words, but first call up the members of your team and introduce them, and we have small replicas of the commendation for each and every one of them.
Thank you. On behalf of Eastside High School, our superintendent, our principal, Michael West, who couldn't be here today, we want to say thank you to the Essex County Freeholders for honoring us. It's hard to believe that I've been coaching for 20 years already at my alma mater at Eastside High School. I just turned 40 years old. I was a senior in college at NJIT, and I was already coaching the Eastside High School team. So thank you. This is been, I think, our third or fourth time here. We've won the state championship 4 times. We won the Essex County championship 6 times. But you know, I've always said in all the years that I've been working with Coach Garvin and Coach Thompson, we don't do it for the individual accolades. We had 10 college basketball players this year at the Division I and Division II level, 1 at Division III. That's what we do it for. Thank you. To continue sending Newark's youth to college for free, to have an opportunity to better themselves. Today we have about 6 members. A lot of our senior class today are still at practices or went out of state. So we brought some of our younger guys here so they can take a look at what this is, and hopefully next year we can be back here again. I want to call up Gabriel Olani. He's a junior. His brother David Olani, he's a current freshman. Their older brother is a sophomore at Stony Brook University on a Division I basketball scholarship, and hopefully these two can follow in his brother's footsteps. We have Aziz Adeshima, he's a current sophomore. Alexi Reyes, current sophomore. Lamine Fufana, another sophomore. And the last one I want to call up is Miles Thomason, who's Coach Thompson's son. He attends Seton Hall Prep High School, but he is part of the family. We're going to get him to come to Eastside one day.
Coach T to stand here too. Coach T is very hard giving him acknowledgement because he truly feels it from the heart. I would just like to thank all the City of Newark also for the support for the kids that so many times you hear it's just about what we do on the court, but along with the college scholarships, I'd like to thank everyone involved with getting some of our youth to become teacher aides and coaches and other mentors in the building, because part of reality of life is other than just making it to the NBA and higher level, just being a productive student and person and human being, to have a job and work in our city is important. So thank you so much, Superintendent, and everyone else involved. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much. And again, to Superintendent Roger Leon and all his leadership team, thank you for the support to Newark Public Schools. We're not done with Newark Public Schools for tonight yet. So now at this time, I'd like to welcome back Jacob to render another selection. But before he sings, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the young man. Jacob spent his early years growing up in Orlando, Florida. He's also been interested in the performing arts and started performing before elementary school at the age of 4. He moved to Montclair, and throughout elementary and middle school, he has starred in several musicals, including South Pacific, Spoonful of Sugar, Oklahoma, and Pajama Game. In high school, he became part of the School of Visual Performing Arts and was in the honor chorus and the passing notes as a vocal percussionist and a bass singer. He is also a varsity fencer and continues to perform in local events with his mom, who happened to sing for us on Women's History Month last month, and also as a solo recording artist. Look for Jacob's music on SoundCloud as m.ma.m.a.l. I don't know if I got that right. But you can hit it again before when you come back. So let's give a big round of applause. Let's welcome Jacob. Come on up.
By the way, it's capital M dot A dot A dot L. All caps, all caps, all caps. Now I'ma tell the world, tell them I'ma tell it everywhere I go. Tell the world, tell them. Yeah, I'm a billboard. Tell the world, tell them I'm broadcasting like a radio. Tell the world you ought to know I'm brand new. I know one thing's true. I don't even really deserve to know you, but I'm a witness that you did this, and I'm brand new, so I'm ready to go. And I'ma tell the world what they need to know. I'm a slave to myself, but you let me go. I tried getting high, but it left me low. You did what they can never do. You cleaned up my soul and give me life. I'm so brand new, and that's all that matters. I ain't love you first, but you first love me. In my heart I cursed you, but you set me free. I gave you no reason to give me new seeds, to give me new life, new breathing. But you hung there bleeding, you died for my lies, and my cheating, my lust, and my greed. And Lord, what is a man that you're mindful of him? What do I have to deserve this love? And trying to make the moments last, holding on to the past, like a hero in a dream. Christ came and he rescued me. Now I'ma tell the world, tell him, I'ma tell it everywhere I go. Tell the world, tell him. Yeah, I'm a billboard. Tell the world, tell him I'm broadcasting like a radio. Tell the world you ought to know I'm brand new. Guys, keep coming. Love is so unconditional. I get butterflies in my stomach. I got the old me in the rear view, not a new me. Got a clear view. I was so dead, I couldn't hear you. Too deep sin to come near you, but you drew me in. You cleaned me up, so take me home, beam me up. Before you do, just let me tell the truth and let these folk know that I done seen your love, and it's everlasting, it's infinite. It goes on and on. You can't measure it, can't quench your love. They can't separate us from the love of God. There's no estimate. My face look the same, my frame rearranged, but I'm changed. Promise I ain't the same. Your love so deep, you suffered and took pain. You died on my cross to give me a new name. Ain't nothing God seen before. I got a beam and glow. I was low down and dirty, but you clean me, Lord. You adopted me, you keep rocking me, and I'ma tell the world and everybody stopping me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So before I bring up my first honoree, I want to take a point of privilege just to point out how we got here. And so celebrating our youth was no accident. Someone who's a former freeholder who happens to be sitting here in the audience, Carol Clark, is actually the person who thought that it was a good idea that we honor our youth in Essex County. So I want you to stand up and let's give this young lady a round of applause. So the next honoree is a young man from Maplewood, Kai Struthers. Please come up. So I don't know how many of you bowl, right? Who have ever went to a bowling alley? I throw more gutter balls than anything. I'm probably the gutter ball king. This young man bowled a perfect game. So on January 19th, 2019, Kai made history in New Jersey by becoming the youngest person to bowl a sanctioned 300-point perfect game at the age of 10. He's standing up here like it's no big deal. Yeah, he has been with the Junior League since he was 4 years old and is a member of the Metropolitan Bowling Senate. Kai is in the 5th grade at Tuscan Elementary School in Maplewood and attends Tabernacle Baptist Church in Newark, where he is a member of the youth choir. Oh, you sing too. All right. Youth ministry, and he is also a youth usher. He has traveled extensively while bowling in tournaments, was part of the winning team for the National Bowling Association, Inc., TNBA, Eastern Regional Junior Tournament that traveled to Detroit, Michigan for the National Roll-Off in 2018. He recently won first place in the TNBA Eastern Regional Junior Tournament in Durham, North Carolina, and he will also be traveling to Detroit, Michigan in July to compete in the Youth Open and Junior Gold Championship. Kai already has an outstanding list of achievements, and we encourage you to read the extensive list in his bio in our program. On February 10, 2019, Kai was invited by the PBA to be a special guest to the Tournament of Champions in Akron, Ohio, and threw out the first ball. Hey, this is... So I'm probably one of the only people who've ever watched like a bowling tournament on television, that's not really into bowling. And what they can do with a bowling ball is incredible. The way they make it spin and curve and do all of those things. I tell you, mine usually curves to the gutter. Yeah. He's very passionate and knowledgeable about the sport and bears the nickname, which he told me not to say, so I'm going to honor your wishes. Because while bowling, I can't get around it. I got to go back. So it bears the nickname Popcorn, because while he was bowling, he was snacking on popcorn, and it was said the secret was in the popcorn. He practices 3 times a week with his private coach and bowls in 2 junior leagues weekly. Kai is the youngest brother and sisters of Shantae and Nia, and son of his proud parents, Kenny and Sharonda. This afternoon, I am proud to present you with the board's commendations. Did he actually smile that time? You want to say a few words?
I'm too short.
No, we can fix that. about that?
I would like to take. I would like to thank the Essex, the how do you say it again?
Essex County Freeholders.
The Essex County Freeholders, for honoring me this day or something.
That's good. Good job. Get a quick picture. Put it together. You got it? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So I always thought I was good at fencing when I was a kid. It was in my mind. It was imaginary. But I think I could take you. No. That's what I say. No. About the same. So next, we are excited to welcome another team, also from right here in the city of Newark. Let's welcome the coach Amiri Baraka, Bernard Chase, Janet Williams, and Cornelius Hunt, who lead the University High School girls basketball team. Also, I need to, so not only is he the basketball coach, he is also the chief of staff to my mayor, Mayor Raz J. Baraka, in the great city of Newark. So I'm just going to share a few highlights. And University High School girls basketball team won 3 state championships. In 2018, 2019, the NJSIAA girls won basketball championship. In 2018-2019, Newark Christmas Tournament Championship. And 2018-2019 Divisional Championship. The team also won 4 straight Christmas tournament championships, 4 straight sectional titles, and 3 state championships. I think that deserves a round of applause. And they did it with 2 players and 1 hurt. That's incredible. Unfortunately, the whole team couldn't be here at spring break, and you got to understand people, young folks do what they do. They're having fun somewhere or into another sport. That's what we do. But thank you this afternoon for coming. I really appreciate it. So this afternoon, I am proud to present you with the board's commendation. Coaches, please call your team members are already up. We have an accommodation for each and every team member. Also one for all the coaches. Coach, would you like to say a few words? Let's do this first. Come on, guys. Coach, say a few words.
I hear Diane.
We can hear from her as well.
First of all, I want to thank the freeholders for having this event. So just thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. We appreciate it. Also, I want to thank Eastside High School boys, your team, and the coaches, of course. It's all Newark, so we got to help each other out. And Kai, his mother Aisha went to school with me. It was crazy. It's ironic that she's here. We went to University High School together. So congratulations to your son. So I just want to say it's not about me or the coaches. It's about these young ladies right here behind me. Without their hard work, dedication, and commitment, none of this would happen. So, and the reason I do it is because of them. And also, I want to share a small little story about my sister, which is another inspiration for why I do what I do. She used to play at University High School. She was probably like 5'6", the smallest player on the team. And she inspired me. just to watch her, at 5'6", score the amount of points she did, averaging 18 points a game, then going away to Johnson C. Smith at college. She's not with us now, but she was always in my heart and my mind, so that's why I do what I do. And besides these young ladies right here, so it's a pleasure and an honor to be here today. Thank you.
It's an honor to be up here, to be a part of this program, because Newark, they say when we coach, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm an assistant coach at University High School. My name is Cornelius Hunt, and the point I was making is that a lot of times, I forgot my point I was making, but he interrupted me when he touched me straight through my whole train of thought out the window. So on that note, I just want to say thank you for having us up here. University.
Hi, my name is Aida Diane. I'm a senior at university. I'm honored to be here today because this is my first year at university and we got a state championship and a sectional, and I'm really proud of my team and help with my coaches. And now I'm going to college bound, and yeah.
Tell me what college.
Oh, I'm going to Bluefield College.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Len Luciano. I'm the proud District 4 freeholder representing North and West Essex. I've been on the board for about 8.5 years, and this is one of our amazing events when we celebrate our youth within the communities and their achievement. Tonight, it is my honor to recognize the final honoree, who is from the great township of Montclair. Unfortunately, our freeholder president, Brendan Gill, who resides and lives in Montclair, is not here, so I'm sort of filling in for him. We apologize for that. But let me welcome up to the podium next to me this evening's final honoree, Miss Jayla Williams. Jayla. So Jayla, before I give you your commendation, I want to just read a little bit about your bio in its entirety. Jayla Williams is a lifelong resident of Montclair and currently a senior at Montclair High School, where she is enrolled in AP and honors courses. She broke the gender barrier and joined the high school wrestling team during her sophomore year, and currently receives attention as Montclair's only female wrestler. I think that deserves a round of applause. She has competed in dozens of wrestling matches against both girls and boys. In 2019, she was one of the first girls ever to compete at the Essex County Tournament at the Richard J. Cody Arena in West Orange as part of an historic first season for girls wrestling in New Jersey. Jayla also qualified and placed at the NJSIAA District 11 Individual Championship in Red Bank, where she was one of only 2 Montclair wrestlers to emerge to qualify for regionals. She went on to defeat several opponents at regionals, qualifying her as Montclair's sole wrestler to advance to the state finals in Atlantic City. Jayla Williams has received most notoriety for making history by participating in the inaugural Girls Wrestling Championships at Atlantic City's famed Boardwalk Hall, where she defeated several opponents to claim a victory as the state's silver place winner in the 136 weight class. She has a passion for architecture and has an interest in science and technology, as demonstrated by her extensive enrollment in programs such as Black Girls Code, the Western Science Academy at Montclair State University, and the Army's ARDEC GEMS, and the W.E.B. Du Bois Scholar Institute at Princeton University. She has received a scholarship by Udacity for computer programming and is a member of the National Society of High School Scholars. She also dedicated time to mentor and encourage other young athletes to pursue and participate in wrestling regardless of their gender. Jayla is the younger sister to brothers Jason, Joseph, Jordan, and Jordan Williams, and the daughter of her proud parents, Veronica Motley and Jason Williams. This evening, it is my honor to present you, Jayla, with this commendation. We are very proud of you for breaking the barrier and accomplishing all the goals you have. And on behalf of the entire board of chosen freeholders, we commend and congratulate you, and we'd like to hear from you for a few words. Thank you.
Well, I'd first like to say that when I started wrestling, I didn't really think that any of this would happen or that it would be possible. I started out and I joined the team as one of the first girls for Montclair High School. And to be honest, I was met with a lot of opposition, but I like to believe that the energy I put into the sport and the positive energy and just the hard working and everything I could do to make myself a better wrestler truly came out and returned to me through support and all the opportunities that were given to me. And I'm very fortunate to be able to wrestle in Montclair High School and be able to participate in New Jersey's first state championship for women. And everything was life-changing, and I'm very appreciative to that. And none of that would be possible without my parents and my family and my friends supporting me. And sadly, my coach cannot make it, but I'd like to also give a shout out to him and just say thank you for everybody that's supporting me. So, yeah.
Congratulations again, Jayla. What an accomplishment, guys. So, Jayla is our last honoree. This ends our program. I'd like to ask for one final applause for all of the honorees here tonight. I also want to introduce and just mention that one of our colleagues just joined us. Please welcome Freeholder Romaine Graham. Freeholder, thanks for being here. So the young people we have honored today are illustrations of the bright future of Essex County. The leaders of tomorrow are right here in this room, and it is our responsibility as adults to encourage and nurture them to be the best that they can be. Our future depends on it. Today we were able to just do what we could to show them how much we appreciate them. So as we close this evening's program, we welcome all the honorees and everyone who has joined us into the room 501 for a reception where we will have sandwiches, food, and drinks. And we ask that all the honorees remain in the chamber right now quickly, because if you want to take some extra photographs with your family or coaches or with your team, we welcome that. And again, thank you all for being here this evening.
This meeting of the Essex County Board of Chosen Freeholders is now called to order. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Cooper, absent. Freeholder Graham. Here. Freeholder Johnson, absent. Freeholder Luciano. Here. Freeholder Mercado.
Here.
Freeholder Palmeras.
Here.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Here.
Freeholder Siebold.
Here.
Freeholder President Gill, absent.
Everybody please stand, salute the flag. I'm going to ask Freeholder Palmeras to lead us in the salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which
silence. Thank you. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
No, Mr. Vice President.
Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
There are none.
Then we're going to go to public comment session. Anybody wishing to? Tonight's meeting is a combined conference board meeting, and we will vote on every item agenda. So if there's any member in the public wishing to comment on any issue, whether or not it is on the agenda, will have an opportunity to speak. One opportunity to speak. So
Right, I just
let me just for clarity's sake, so you're going to have 3 minutes to speak on an agenda item or a non-agenda item. You won't be able to come back, bounce back and forth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Holly Gauthier, Soma Action, South Orange, New Jersey resident. I'm here today to encourage the freeholders in their pursuit of reliable, secure, cost-effective voting machines. And what I know is, having been to a lot of conferences, or at least one, and studied a lot on this, voting machines are complicated. They're not a toaster, although toasters can be pretty complicated sometimes, at least mine is. They're computer systems, they're software systems. They require a great deal of expertise. It's not something you can just go and pick off the shelf. I'd like to also mention a point here, because this is so important, to quote from Rush Holt, who was speaking before the Senate, New Jersey Senate, in 2008, when they were considering a bill to not have paper ballots. And what he says, I'll make sure I can get it right, is that voting is not an act of faith, it is an act of record. So I'm here tonight to encourage freeholders to pursue a system, a voting system, that makes sure that Essex County voters have the best act of record as possible. Then it becomes, well, if voting systems are so complicated, how do you sort it out? Well, you have to know what you want, and what we know we want is we want a reliable system, one that really reflects the intent of the voter, that can't be, that won't break down. We want a secure system that can't be hacked or manipulated either on purpose or by accident, and we want one that is cost effective, that's for sure. Well, how do you know how to get that? Well, some people would tell you that you should look to experts that are vendors. I'm here to tell you, vendors are not the source of expertise for getting voting machines for any place. Interestingly, there are only 3 major, well, there are more than that, but there are 3 major voting companies in the United States, and they have 80% of the market. In order to get a proper voting system for the Essex County voters, we need an outside consultant with expertise. This could be people that we've met before, Andrew Appel. It could be Richard DeMilo from Georgia. There's another guy from Berkeley. There are a variety of people able to provide the administration and the freeholders with expertise. If our ballot, if our vote doesn't seem secure, doesn't seem safe, doesn't seem accurate, then we really don't have much of a democracy. And I encourage the freeholders to take the steps necessary to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Before the next speaker, I want to recognize Freeholder Cooper is here. And please, next speaker, tell us your name, affiliation, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is William Graves. I'm with Soma Action, and I live in South Orange, New Jersey. The Mueller report has made clear that in 2016, the Russians attacked our voting system and attacked our democracy. In order to prevent a successful attack, we have to have a safe, reliable system that's subject to audit. And I would urge the board to consider a system where the voter marks the ballot and the ballot is then subject to a optical scan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Harris. I live in South Orange. I'm co-chair of the Voters' Rights Committee for Soma Action. I'm also here to speak on behalf of hand-marked paper ballots with an optical scanner located at the polling place. I want to talk about money because whatever recommendation comes from the administration, this board decides whether it's prudent for the money to be spent. And you have to make sure that we as citizens get the most for our money. Now, when it comes to the voting machines, the hand-marked paper ballots allow the voter to vote in private on paper, several of them at the same time. The scanner is not tied up if someone is indecisive or can't quite make up their mind about whether or not to vote or whether they overvote or undervote. That doesn't tie up the machine as it would with the machines we currently use and with any of the ballot marking devices like the Express SL. This same debate was going on over 10 years ago in Essex County and in New Jersey. New York almost bought the machines that we bought. But when they had them analyzed and they got a security score of 0, and they had already committed to the machines, they said, we're not going through with this contract, and it cost them $20 million. They paid $20 million not to get the machines we bought. If you're going to spend several $1 million on voting machines, make sure you don't get somebody else's rejects, like we did last time. This is important, it's critical, and we know that there are foreign sources who want to interfere in our elections, control who wins. And even if it's not malfeasance that results in a vote that is not the voter's intent, these machines, and we know it because we've had the experience right in this county, these machines vote for people that the voter didn't vote for. So when you let that kind of machine control our democracy, it is reckless, it is irresponsible. We expect you, our elected freeholders, to stop this administration from buying machines that are improper and ineffective. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, please come up to the mic. State your name and affiliation for the record. Oops. So if you twist the
Thank you.
squeeze
Lisa
the-
Parker, District Leader Central. In the fall of last year, this is what the homeowners listened to from 6 p.m. at night to 6 a.m. in the morning, all along South Orange corridor, 200 feet away. You wanted to repair the roads, but there was no community engagement. When we came to the council and said, we have a noise ordinance, that these are homeowners, these are families, we should have not been interrupted from 6 p.m. at night to 6 a.m. listening to this for 7 days. Now, you're getting ready to put this parking lot over here, and while I understand the law says you must notify people 200 feet, you are not baiting, so all the rats are running over. They don't have a perimeter around 200 feet. They're running all over into Society Hill and all in our environment. Before you get ready to make plans, first you need to be engaging the people in the community. I represent over 800 homes from Warren, Wycliffe, all the way over to South Orange Avenue. Now, when you destroyed the street and repaved South Orange Avenue, you came and put new curbs on the street. except for one block on South Orange Avenue between Prince and Broome Street. Why would you put new curbs and there's no place for people to walk on the sidewalk? That's part of the county. We want a new sidewalk put on that street between Broome and Prince Street. I get it, everybody wants to improve the environment, but the people that are paying the lion's share of the taxes here needs to be engaged by everyone that's supposed to be representing us. And from henceforth, don't do any construction from 6 p.m. at night to 6 a.m. in the morning, because you wouldn't do it in any other area except ours, because we're urban. You don't want to disrupt the people that come into the courthouse. We need the sheriff's department, since they're here, not to just patrol
30 seconds.
within the park area. 13th Avenue, South Orange Avenue, and Market is where the sheriff should be patrolling. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. So just for those who are unaware, so what's usual and customary here is we will answer your questions, or your questions will be answered in writing in a timely fashion. So is no one else wishing to speak? Don't knock each other down.
Thank you. I'm all right, cowboy, resident of Newark. I haven't been here for a while, but I've been checking out things out in the street and in the park and everything. So, of course, out in the street is my first home, and the park is my second home. I have been seeing things that's happening, being out in the street, and I just wanted to mention a few things. Like there was a beautiful relationship with the people in the carnival down in Weekway Park, which really built that park up in such a way that the people was really satisfied, because it was parking down there was free, and it was something that Newark didn't provide when the Universal Circus was here before. But another thing, the way that they had everything lined up and everybody pitched in, everybody in that park was there, and they didn't even have parking space for that road. But every day that park was filled up. So another thing I want to say, since the park has been built up with all the new facilities and things down there, the playground and ball fields and everything, I see Rutgers is taking over that ball field, playing their home games there, which is beautiful. And they're there all the time. And then I see the way that things are, like I spoke on it before, like when you're building up things in the park, you got to build up to whatever you're building up for. So the porta potties down there, there's one porta potty in front of that ball field where everybody was coming up to the community center to go to the bathroom, and it's really something the way that it was filled up. Then the community center is closing at 5:30 when the sun and everything just coming out, everybody's getting off of work, bringing the kids there. The kids are there up until 7 o'clock, but they close up the place at 5:30. And I said, it's a shame when you're putting more into the park and more for people to come, you're cutting down all the things that should be building up. But anyway, I think that you're doing a very good job
30 seconds.
and working with the city, working with the county and building the park up. But as you're building it up, I think you should have a little more help in keeping things organized, even the police and things around in the park, straightening up things. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Hi,
Carrie Murphy, business owner and constituent. I have several questions. The first question is, I would like to know in our Essex County Jail, how many MS-13s and criminals are in there, and how many alleged civil offenders are in there. I have Oprah requests and haven't received any responses. That's my first question. The reason why I'm asking is because the jail gets a lot of money, and we don't know where all that money, not all that amount money is accounted for, and we're getting a lot of that money through the ICE contract. And we do know that in other counties, and we are assuming now in Essex, that many of these immigrants that are being jailed in your county jail are civil offenders. They're alleged civil offenders. So I want to try to understand why our tax money is being used for sheriffs to babysit civil offenders instead of using them to protect our residents here. It's not being done. That's my second question. Where is the money going? The money that you're getting from the ICE contract, where exactly is it going? And the second part of that question is, why are sheriffs not actually keeping us safe? Because they're so busy babysitting civil offenders. My final point in question is, I want to know if it's the county's goal or if it's something they do often to stop our constitutional right to free speech. I was a very calm protester at the Cherry Blossom Festival, and we were protesting. We were less than 10 people, so we did not need a permit. And we were quietly and nicely protesting and giving out information about who is in your jail and how many people are in your jail and how much money the county is getting from that. Joe D. and the sheriff pulled up on one part of the sidewalk and blocked us in, and then the sheriff stood on the other side and blocked us. And they blocked us on the other side, away from the news reporters and away from the people that were there at the park for the event. I want to know, one, why we were not able to walk on a public sidewalk, and me, as a paid runner, why I was not able to participate in that.
30 seconds.
And two, I want to know how the sheriffs thought that was a safe thing to do, because I didn't feel safe, I felt scared. And I also want to know why Joe D. told me I was going to be arrested. I asked him what law I violated, and he couldn't answer me. He told me I'd find out once I was arrested. Your county is complicit in hate and violence. You guys are doing the wrong thing. You need to end your ICE contract, and you need to start treating your citizens better. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for being here and trying to do this job that you've all been entrusted to do. We appreciate it. We just hope that you'll hear us. I'd like to say a couple things. One is, I hope that you'll give Lisa a copy of your correspondence.
Would you please put your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Terry Seuss, 100 Alexander Street in Newark.
Thank you.
And I would like to make sure that Lisa gets a copy of your correspondence to the contractors or the department that is in charge of building the garage and that's in charge of drilling in the street, so that you indicate to them, or somebody in authority is indicating to them, what the ground rules are to meet the needs of the neighborhood. Anybody? You'll do that, I hope? Okay. Second,
excuse me, if I may, just stop the time.
Stop the clock.
I think what Ms. Parker referenced, and when she played the tape, she was talking about them doing street paving a year ago. And what she's talking about now in terms of the garage is that it wasn't baited for rats. So
Right.
it's two different issues.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that you'll have other contractors working in the street, so I think it's ongoing. Could you turn the clock back a little bit?
Turn it back on.
So second is the people that came on the voting machines, very, very important. And it's not only foreign intervention in elections, it's domestic, like it or not. There's a book called Code Red that I think all of you should see. It's by Jonathan Simon please note it down and please take a look at it, because it's basically how the 2014 midterms were thrown. And it's a really important book, and you would think every Democrat in the United States would look at the book and get involved with how to prevent that. It's really important. Verifiable elections that these folks brought up are essential. Thank you so much. You know that I've been here before calling for the immediate closure of the ICE detention at the county jail. And I've asked you time and again for a timetable of discussing how we can get to that immediate closure. And nobody has responded. Nobody suggested a simple timetable. And we're really running out of patience with this. Because even today, Mildred Crump, our city council president, called for the closure of that facility, of that detention facility. And you guys have the potential to set the stage, set the trend for the entire country by ending this ICE contract and sending a message to Donald Trump, who is the most reactionary president we've ever had, who is scapegoating innocent people of every color and even journalists, right? He doesn't want anybody writing about anything. He's horrific. And if you can't take some action to stand up to that and make a statement, we have a real problem with you guys calling yourselves Democrats. We need you. We need you now more than ever. Let me see what else I wanted to get in here. Basically, when I hear the other young woman talk about how they were treated at the race, Joe D. and the sheriff are sounding like thugs. You know, we don't need thugs here. We need a dialogue, and we need to get some action and movement on this issue. So please, please, take this to heart and actually start the ball rolling. Some of you right here could make that happen. So we will look to you for action on this, and soon, not just 7 years from now. We don't have that kind of time. 800 people are sitting down there, and you should go spend 2 weeks with them, or I should. And you would be much more passionate about this, as would I'm sure. So let's get going on this. Please respond to me when we can sit down to set a timetable to close this within the next several months. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Jay Arena. I live here in Newark, 35 Maiden Lane. Now, earlier a speaker talked about the alleged Russian intervention in our democracy. Well, we can talk about that. But what we do know is the United States, Democrat and Republican around the world, intervenes in the domestic politics of countries that they do not favor and create havoc. So that's what we know about that. That's documented, that attack on democracy. And that destruction that they create forces people to leave their homes. And then when they enter the United States, they face a further attack on their democratic rights, as we see with this massive increasing gulag system of detention centers. And yes, these freeholders right here in Essex County, Joseph DiVincenzo, are part of that attack on those democratic rights. But there is a growing movement in this county, in this state, and around the country to end these concentration camps, holding people without trial or criminal charge. And today we had an important step forward in that movement. The president of the Newark City Council, Mildred Crump, on the steps of the House Hall of Records, of Joe D's office, of your office, demanding that you end this contract now. The blood money contract must end. And that is being asked by everyone, all of you freeholders, Mr. Pomares, who we've never heard a word of, who received open arms when he arrived. Of course, when it's a government the U.S. is trying to destroy, then they open the arms. But when it's people trying to undo a repressive government. They put up the walls. And we haven't heard a word from you, Mr. Pomares. But there's a growing movement that's putting all of you on, including Miss Ileana Pintor Marine, who lives in the district where this concentration camp is housed, and she's never raised a word, right? All of you are being put on the line. Where do you stand? Mr. Richardson, all of you. Because this is a growing movement. And they're not hiding behind what Ms. Siebold tried to use last meeting. Oh, we want to keep them close to their families. Well, that was rejected when the governor wants to put in this juvenile jail. It's the same garbage argument, and people put up pickets and they shut it down. Well, that's the same way we respond to your garbage argument. We need to shut this thing down now, and this movement is growing, and we're putting the question to Mr. DiVincenzo. Instead of sending his sheriffs, as Corinne talked about when we went to the Cherry Blossom Festival, when we attempted to discuss with him this blood money contract, he sent Fontora, who put us in an improvised prison, and then when we tried to break out of his prison, he ran us over, and this is on video. And I'm closing up.
Please, yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah, and you need to close up this ICE detention center, this ICE concentration. That's what you need to do.
Thank
right,
you, sir.
Mr. Richardson?
Thank you.
Let me finish. So you need to close this down. And when are you going to join? Mildred Crump has taken a stand. What side are you on?
Thank you. Next speaker. Anyone else wishing to speak? Madam Clerk, let the record reflect.
I want to thank Paul Alfano, Public Works. I'm here 32 years at the county. I want to thank the Freehold Board for responding to my prior inquiries. I want to thank the county for Sid, this young fellow that works over here in the administrative offices. He's a computer IT guy. He's very helpful with the system. And then I have some other issues here. I have document A. I provided copies for all the freeholders. And this document speaks about my having a gun in the jail years ago and firing a gun. And this document was withheld from me for years. I'm again requesting this document. And my other inquiry is about SHI International. I believe this is the contractor that has the role in the time management system, time and attendance. I'm inquiring about their role and how much they're being paid for their services. And that's it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Somebody right behind you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak? Come up to the mic. Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that there's no one else wishing to speak at this time. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions for introduction and first reading?
No, Mr. Vice President.
Do we have any ordinance or resolution listing purposes only?
No, Mr. Vice President.
Do we have any ordinance or resolution on second reading and public hearing?
No, Mr. Vice President.
Okay, then let's move to resolution number 1, please. We will read it into the record at a later time. Resolution number 1, Mr. Jackson, please explain.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. The first item on the agenda for the evening is a contract with CDW Government LLC for our Microsoft Office license renewal, and Assistant Administrator Hunt is here to explain.
Carl Hunt, Assistant County Administrator.
Speak into the mic. We can't hear you, sir.
I'm sorry. Better? Okay. Carl Hunt, Assistant County Administrator. The Microsoft platform that we currently use is we use several different applications of it. One of them is Customer Relations Manager, which DFAB uses to manage our clients as they come in for different portfolios. The other one is for Microsoft Azure. This is where we use to back up our systems within the cloud so we can have multiple locations. Should in case we have a failure, we can always go and pull back our records to get it up. The other one that we use widely is Microsoft Office 365. And within Microsoft Office 365, we also use the various different securities that go along with the email platform to make sure that as we're getting various different emails, we're pulling out viruses out of it to protect our system. So part of it is also the security platform that we use within it. We were able to negotiate our price down, and negotiating it down, although this was the final year in the contract, allowed us to add another 400 users in email and another 150 users for the customer relationship manager, which end up reducing our current yearly expense for this year by $44K.
Thank you. Mr. Paulovecchio.
I don't have any questions on this.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Hearing none, need a motion and a second.
I'll move, Mr. Vice President.
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Palmeris and second by Graham, Freeholder Graham. Madam Secretary, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Cooper?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson absent. Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado?
Yes.
Freeholder Palmeris?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson?
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo? Yes. Freeholder President Gill absent. So moved.
So moved. Madam Clerk, let's move to Resolution 2 and 3. Will be read into the record at a later date. Mr. Jackson, please explain the resolutions.
Item 2, Mr. President, is our contract to provide for educational services at the Essex County Juvenile Detention Facility for the year 2019. Director Saunders and Mr. Jenkins are here to explain. Mr. Jenkins is from the vendor.
We provide education.
You can squeeze the handle of the round handle right there, and and bring it up to you. There you go.
Good afternoon. Our company,
Just
I'm sorry, my
put your
name is
name
Rodney
and
Jenkins.
affiliation on the record.
An affiliation, I'm here with the Essex Regional Educational Services Commission.
Please.
Okay. It is our job to educate the students that are incarcerated in the Essex Youth Juvenile Detention Center. Right now, we service 4 counties. We provide education and vocational services now to those students to try to give them more skills so we don't see them as much as we do. Plain and simple.
Okay, you have someone else with you who wants to speak, or you just,
I'm just with them. I'm Gina
Okay.
Saunders, Superintendent of Essex County Juvenile Detention Center.
okay. Mr. Paulovecchio.
How long has Essex Regional provided these services at the juvenile detention facility?
29 years.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders, any questions or comments? Freeholder Sebo.
Thank you. I would just like to comment that I understand that many of the people who are in the detention center are receiving their high school degrees. Is that correct?
That is true. There are several students that are building toward their graduating skills or getting their GEDs. Sometimes, though, like this year, it seems like we have a bunch of juniors this year, so our graduation will be kind of scarce, but overall, they're all building toward their academic goals and trying to pursue either GED or getting their high school diploma.
I was going to ask whether you're giving GED also. And you
Yes, yes. For both inside and outside visitors, we provide GED services.
I want to compliment you on the great job you're doing over there, because I really think you are. So many of them are finishing their work.
Thank you, Freeholder Sebo.
Resolution number 3, Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, this is an agreement between the County of Essex and Salem and County of Salem, and our County Counsel Gassion and Warden Saunders are here to explain.
Good evening, Courtney Gassion, Essex County Council.
Through you, Mr. Vice President, Resolution number 3 is a shared services agreement between Essex County and the County of Salem. You'll recall that we've come to you on prior occasions with an identical agreement for the counties of Hudson, Union, and Passaic counties. This is to allow for the housing of Salem County juveniles in the Essex County Juvenile Detention Center. The one distinction between this contract and the other 3 counties that I mentioned is that the rate is higher for Salem County. It's $276.21 as opposed to this $217 that's being charged to the other counties. The reason for this is we're rolling into this daily rate the proportional share of their education and medical costs for Salem County. The reason for that is that Salem County population that's going to be coming to us is going to be very sporadic. It's not going to be the consistent basis that we're getting from the other 3 counties that I mentioned. So it would be difficult with such a sporadic population coming from Salem to identify what their proportional share of the medical and the educational costs would be. So we are rolling it into their daily rate as of right now. Superintendent Saunders, do we have any? We have one Salem County resident, and I think that the history that we've seen, it's probably going to dictate it's not going to really vary much from that, and it's not going to again be on a consistent basis that we're getting Salem County residents.
Thank you. Mr. Paulovecchio.
Yeah, for the Salem County juveniles, how will they be transported from our facility here all the way to Salem if they need to appear in court or for some other reason?
Well,
because of the
transportation
great distance?
responsibilities rely with the County of Salem.
On the home county?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. McInerney. No questions. Freeholders, any questions or comments? Freeholder Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. President. The agreement that's attached, the Salem agreement, is kind of garbled. There's a couple pages that you can't read, so can we get a better copy at a later date of the contract?
Through you, Mr. Vice President, that's no problem. I can provide that to the board.
And the resolution looks like it dropped off. It's the first page of the resolution is there. It looks like there was more to come, and it's not attached. I don't know if I overlooked it on the link, perhaps.
Give me 1 second.
Thank you.
It was there yesterday. I know it was there yesterday, so I'm just looking to see what we have today.
Yeah, this is just mine. Like I said, my dates are all messed up.
So Freeholder Cooper, page 2 is not here. I'm sure we can get that for you.
Thank you.
Page 2 is not on your package.
Okay.
Freeholders, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion and a second.
I'll second.
Moved by Sebo, second by Mercado.
This is for resolutions 2 and 3.
For 2 and 3, taking 2 and 3.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Fielder Sebo?
Yes.
Fielder Vice President Richardson?
Yes.
Fielder Palmeras?
Yes.
Fielder Mercado?
Yes.
Fielder Luciano?
Yes.
Fielder Johnson absent. Fielder Graham?
Yes.
Fielder Cooper?
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill absent. So moved.
All right. Let's move to resolution number 4, Mr. Jackson. Be read into the record at a later date. Mr. Jackson, please explain.
Yes, this is a contract to provide for ADA access to our polling places. We received 3 bids from 19 potential bidders. This amount of the contract is $75,000. Within that is an amount of $15,000 in case we need additional locations. This is to ensure that we comply with all ADA regulations at our election sites.
Mr. Paulovecchio.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is a low bid contract, and it's a not-to-exceed amount, as Mr. Jackson mentioned.
Mr. McInerney.
I don't have any questions.
Freeholders. Freeholder Palmeras.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. One question, and maybe it's just because I'm relatively new, but what kind of polling places need ramps? I would assume that the majority of the places that polling places are designated are municipal buildings or such that would already be ADA compliant. Can you shed a little light into why that is?
Certainly, Freeholder. Some of the locations are grandfathered for compliance with ADA.
I see.
And so we provide for some additional access into some of those points, because some of them are grandfathered.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, sir.
Freeholders, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, need a motion and a second.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Freeholder Mercado, second by Freeholder Graham. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Cooper?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson absent, Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado?
Yes.
Freeholder Palmeris?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson?
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo?
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill absent. So moved.
Madam Clerk, we're going to move to resolution number 5. It will be read into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, please explain the resolution.
Certainly, this is an agreement with Samuel Klein and Company with the Board of Taxation to provide for auditing and accounting services in an amount not to exceed $22,500. We received 2 responses from 21 potential bidders from an RFP. The other firm was substantially higher, almost 4 times as high, and Samuel Klein Company is from Newark, and they've had good experience with this arrangement in the past.
Thank you. Mr. Polavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
Yeah, I would just reiterate that as well, that the Samuel Klein also calculates the equalization table. That's very important to allocate the county taxes among the various municipalities. So it's something they've been doing for as long as I remember.
Thank you. Freeholder Sebo.
I would just add to that they do an excellent job for the county, and I know they work for some communities also and do a very good job. And if we're going to move it, I'd like to move it.
Freeholders, any other questions or comments? Hearing none.
I'll
Motion
second
made
that
by
motion.
Freeholder Sebo, second by Freeholder Mercado. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Cooper?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson absent, Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado?
Yes.
Freeholder Palmeris?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson?
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo?
Yes.
Freeholder Gill absent. So moved.
Madam Clerk, so let's move to resolution 6, 7, 8. 7 was withdrawn by the administration. 6 through 8. Okay, 7 has been. Mr. Jackson, those will be read into the record at a later date. Mr. Jackson, please explain.
Mr. President, the 6 is we are proposing to buy out our lease at 10 Park Place, where our Division of Family and Benefits is located for that. And number 8 is some additional forensic computer services, and County Counsel Gassion is here to explain further.
Courtney Gassion, Essex County Council. Through you, Mr. Vice President, resolution number 6 is the county's request for an approval of a lease buyout agreement for the 18 Rector Street, also known as 10 Park Place location. As Mr. Jackson indicated, this space currently houses our Division of Family Assistance and Benefits. As the board is aware, the county's recently purchased property located at 321 University Avenue. The plan is to relocate the Division of Family Assistance and Benefits to 321 University Avenue effective July 1, 2020, and therefore leaving the space vacant at 18 Rector. The current lease expires at 18 Rector in January of 2026. The county has undertaken negotiations with the landlord of 18 Rector for an early buyout of this lease, which would allow the county to pay a one-time amount of $14.5 million to buy out this lease, and therefore ending the lease early in July of 2020 at the time that the DFAB is moving to the new location. This early buyout will allow cost savings to be realized by the county in the amount of $18 million. The agreement, which is attached to the resolution, lays out the agreement that's been reached between the county and the landlord. We're, as I mentioned, seeking the board's approval of the early buyout agreement.
Thank you. Mr. Polavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
The key to this agreement was getting bond counsel to certify that the $14.5 million buyout could be bonded, because there's really 2 separate transactions going on with regard to this. So That has taken place. And so the fact that this can be bonded and need not be appropriated is the reason why it works so well. In addition, there is the difference between 32 and a half and 14 and a half is the $18 million savings. It's unknown at this point in time how much the $14.5 million over its life with the county would cost in interest. But that interest cost would obviously decrease the amount of savings, but certainly not in any substantial way not to make this a viable deal.
Thank you. Freeholders, any questions, comments? Do number 8 to be read to the record at a later date. Please explain. Mr. Jackson.
Through you, Mr. Vice President, Resolution number 8 is a request for the approval of a contract with RVM Enterprises, Inc. to provide forensic computer auditing services on behalf of the County of Essex. We're seeking a one-year contract in an amount not to exceed $100,000. RVM is currently conducting these services on behalf of the county in connection with the litigation that the county is engaged in against Aetna Insurance. We've retained RVM to both collect, manage, and store computer files, data, records, et cetera, for the purposes of organizing discovery and then ultimately providing discovery through the litigation process. There's an excess of several 100,000 documents in this case. The county has retained RVM, as I indicated, to help collect these documents, put them in a usable format, and then ultimately store them in an electronic format as we move through the litigation, which we anticipate and hope will be resolved sometime next year. That's why we're seeking a one-year contract for RVM to conduct their services.
Thank you, Mr. Bartolacchio.
Just anecdotally, this is a very time-intensive process to do these data collections, and to try to do it in-house is to dedicate the personnel to that would be almost impossible. So it's very common that law firms and obviously county counsel's office would engage somebody like this for what sounds like a very document-heavy kind of lawsuit.
Thank you. Mr. McInerney.
I don't have any questions on this.
Freeholders, questions or comments? Hearing none, need a motion and a second to take 6 and 8. Moved by Freeholder Luciano and second by, is that Graham? Oh, Cooper, sorry. Cooper. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Stevo?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson?
Yes.
Freeholder Palmaris?
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson absent. Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper?
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill absent. So moved.
Madam Clerk, let's move to resolutions 9 through 15, which will be read into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, please explain the resolutions.
Certainly, Mr. President. Directors Salvante and Hartwick are here to address each of these items.
Oh, there must be some really important stuff for here. We got the top. Good to see you.
Good evening, Freeholder President. My name is Kate Hartwick. I'm the Deputy Director for the Parks Department, and item number 9 is an RFP contract for graphic arts and design services. There were 2 proposals received by the department. They were reviewed by a committee, and Iris Communications was the highest rated. Iris Communications is a women-owned business here in Essex County, and the services that they will be providing is graphic design for items such as the marketing postcards, banners, and items for the Cherry Blossom Festival, summer concert series, our quarterly newsletter publication, as well as the advertisements that are placed in local newspapers and publications to announce these events. And I have Barbara Bochese of Iris Communications here with me tonight.
The floor is yours. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the contract? If you squeeze that handle, you can pull that down a little.
I'll tell you a little bit about Iris Communications.
Just put your name and
My name is Barbara Bochese. I live in Roseland. Iris is the best example of Essex County and how much it helps small business. Back in 2010, when I decided to make Iris a full-service marketing company, I went to the Essex County Office of Small Business Development and Affirmative Action. And Deborah Collins at the time was a great resource for me and helped me build my business up and helped me find certifications and how to create a small business and grow in Essex County. We're proud to say that more than half of our employees are Essex County residents. We are Essex County residents. I work very hard to bring my other business partners from Newark, from Fairfield. My printer is from Newark. So we really work hard to make sure that all of our business stays in Essex County. As a woman-owned small business, we are certified through the state as an SBE and a WBE, but we are also certified through the National Women Business Council, which is one of the 2 approved SBA federally certified. And just recently we received our we are now on the Government Services Administrations, or the GSA marketing schedule. So we're the best example of what a small business, a woman-owned small business can do here in Essex County. And we owe a great debt of gratitude to Essex County for helping us.
Thank you. Any, Mr. Polavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Freeholder? Seahold, and then Freeholder Palmetto.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to say that Iris Communication has been working for us for a while now.
Would you please speak into the microphone?
I'm sorry. I said first I would like to say that Iris Communications has been working for us for quite a while. And secondly, I'd like to say that I think you do an absolutely wonderful job, and I'm very pleased you're going to continue working for Essex County. Thank you.
Mr. Vice President, thank you. More of a comment, if I may, but in light of yesterday's meeting of the Essex County Small Business Resources that we had here just yesterday, perhaps, Mr. Administrator, if we can recommend to you that maybe Iris Communications could be a wonderful example to showcase for the department that was here yesterday, and maybe by way of example, exemplify how small businesses, the veteran-owned, women-owned, minority-owned businesses could thrive in this system. And for your reference, Madam, yesterday we had an affirmative action committee meeting here, and we were talking about how to reach businesses like yours 10 years ago, how to get started and how to give them whatever tool they need to succeed. And I think, sounds like you would be a shining example of that. And I'd like to recommend, if possibly, we can consider them having a sit-down about maybe showcasing that kind of business so that others can see.
Yeah, not only that, Freeholder, I'd like to see you get more business.
Thank you.
That's the way we highlight who you are and what you're doing, by make sure you get more business.
So can make a recommendation that we
Through you, Mr. President, absolutely. Thank you, Freeholder. Great recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Thank you.
Okay, let's take number 10.
Freeholder.
Oh, I'm sorry. Freeholder Luciano.
Freeholder Vice President, just you, through you, I wanted to put on the record that I too know Barbara and her husband. They reside in the Essex County District 4 that I represent. I think they're great people. They run an amazing business, and we're just proud to have them. So I wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to number 10, Mr. Jackson. Please explain.
Mr. Salvante.
You could squeeze that handle and pull it up.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
Dan Salvante, Director of the Essex County Park System. Mr. President, this is an extension of an existing contract, which is awarding to a Guardian Fence.
Okay.
Andrew?
Just tell us your name and affiliation, a little bit about the contract and what you're going to be doing.
Andrew Macarelli, Guardian Fence, Newark, New Jersey. It's a call-as-needed basis. It's to repair parks and various facilities around Essex County.
So I'd like to call you right now to go check Weequahic Park fencing out.
Had a crew there
Do
this
something
morning.
about that.
Elizabeth
There
had.
a lot of holes and a lot of beat-up fences all around Weequahic Park. So hopefully you can start there. You may need a little more money, though.
Mr. President, through the administration, the county executive has authorized us to assemble a bid for 2 phases of Weequahic Park on fencing. That would be on the Elizabeth Avenue side as well as the Meeker Avenue side. So that's being prepared as we speak, and we'll advertise that shortly.
And then, as soon as you get those two sides done, you can go on the Dayton Street side and address those issues as well.
Well, we're looking at the entire park, so we're going to do a phase-in system with the
So-
repairs that have to be done there.
It looks like you got to add another phase.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Vice
And-
President.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And if you-
Freeholder Mercado.
And if you could just add, I know they're making renovations to the Althea Gibson tennis courts. There's a fencing along Hello Parkway, right along that wraps around. It's in very dire need of upgrade or repair or replace, whatever the administration thinks. But Dan, I just thought I'd throw that in there for you.
Yes, through you, Mr. President, we'll do an inspection and come back and see what we got.
Appreciate that.
Freeholder Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there a list of parks that you are targeting for this amount of funding?
Actually, it's for the entire park system, so that includes everything that falls underneath the county park system.
So Orange Park, as you're aware, we talked a couple weeks ago, has sustained a lot of damage to various areas of its fencing from the trees falling down.
Correct.
So I would like to jump on their list of requests as well for Orange Park to be addressed. And I want to note that it's been warm the last couple of weeks off and on, and the trees are still sitting down in the park. They haven't been removed yet.
Right. We're well aware of that. Again, we're dealing with 24 parks. We're well aware of that. And again, I have it on the schedule.
Mr. Savante, I understand that you're well aware of that, but there is one tree that's been down in the park since last year.
Through you, Mr. President.
Last year, so it's over a year now that it's been down.
Right. I don't know that specific one per se, but I think in the spring and, we just had all this rain just recently, so that kind of dictates a lot of what we can get to due to the wet ground. So I will do another inspection and we'll take a look at that one.
Thank you.
Freeholder Grant.
Yeah, hi.
Director, don't go.
Since we're inspecting parks, can you inspect Irvington Park also?
Yes.
The fencing. Thank you.
All right.
I got nothing, sir.
You better run for the
We already took care of you.
Number 11, Mr. Jackson.
Ms. Harwick.
Good evening. Kate Hartwig. Item number 11 is a contract with Hudson Community Enterprises. This provides janitorial services for the bathrooms at Turtleback Zoo on weekends and holidays, and is not to exceed $64,000.
Mr. Palavecchio.
Ms. Hartwick, do we have any other contracts with Hudson? Are they a sheltered workshop? Or is
They
that
are a
different?
sheltered workshop. In terms of the Parks Department, this is the only contract we have with them.
Okay, maybe it's a different department. Thank you.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders. Questions on number 11? None. Let's go to number 12. Should be read into the record at a later date. Mr. Jackson.
Ms. Harwick.
Okay. And item 11 is a contract for, item number 12 is an item for outdoor athletic lighting. This is for repairs to athletic lighting throughout the park system. And I have with me the contractor, Britain Electric.
Good evening. We're a small company. We're based, all employees reside in Nutley, New Jersey.
Who are you?
We have a total of 2 employees.
Excuse me.
and they-
Name first.
Your name, affiliation?
Oh,
Your
my
name.
name is Drew Britton, and I'm the owner of Britton Electric Company. We have a shop in Roseland, New Jersey, and all employees reside in Nutley, New Jersey.
So you want to tell us a little bit about the contract?
The contract includes changing of light bulbs and ballasts and basic lighting repairs in ball fields, soccer fields, pretty much all the county parks.
Thank you. Mr. Palavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No questions.
Freeholders. Thank you very much, Mr. Britton.
Thank you.
Yeah, he said, this is down and all his employees are from Nutley. That's a beautiful thing. I'm sorry. 13.
Good evening. Kate Hartwig. Item number 13 is...
Kate, should I just start calling you and just skip?
Eliminate the middleman.
Item number 13 is a resolution to clarify language in a dedication by rider for the Essex County Parks Trust Fund accounts. The accounts are referred to as beautification accounts, and the language is clarified to state enhancement projects, beautification, and operations. These funds are revenue funds collected via the South Mountain Recreation Complex and the golf course as well.
Mr. Polavecchio.
So, Ms. Hartwick, it's safe to say that this simply clarifies, it doesn't expand the uses of the trust fund monies and does
No.
not go beyond what
No,
the
this
law
is just
allows?
clarifying language to bring it in line with how the funds are used.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Next is 14. So it seems like you get certain dollar amounts and the deputy gets other certain dollar amounts. Just looking at this.
Okay. Dan Salvante, Director of the Essex County Park System. This is a option year again for snow removal at the South Mountain Recreation Complex. Again, this is Roush. Unfortunately, I could not have a representative here this evening, but this is again an option contract for the removal of snow at the South Mountain Recreation Complex.
Mr. Polavecchio.
Just looking to pull up the contract. The initial, Mr. Salvanti, the initial contract, I know this is a 24-month extension. I'm just trying to find it. It was a 3-year contract, the original, and this is now the back-end 2-year
Correct.
extension? Okay. All right, so this was, just for the board's edification, since the vendor isn't here, this was the product of a public bid back in 2016. So it was the lowest bidder at that point, and was awarded a 3-year contract with an option for 24-month extension, which is what we're doing now. So it's not a new bid, but it was initially a low public bid.
Thank you. 15.
Through you, Mr. President, number 15 is, again, an option year extension on a contract to D'Onofrio Sons in regard to the grass cutting in several parks within the Essex County Park System. You'll notice that they are listed as well. Again, unfortunately, there is not a representative due to a recent surgery, but again, this is an option to award to D'Onofrio.
So was it a one-man shop?
The owner is a female owner that runs the shop, so she's the manager of the company.
There's one more attached to this. Go ahead, Dan. Any questions, Mr. Polavecchio?
No, thank you.
Mr. McInerney? No. Freeholders on group number 1, D'Onofrio and Sons. Hearing now, go to number 2.
Next one, number 16 is...
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's a part 2, a group 2.
Looks like
Sugar.
Sugar Group, and they have a representative
Correct.
here. I see him in the back waving.
Right. So we want to talk about Sugar now?
Yeah, it's part of 15.
Don't make it wait.
Okay. Okay, again, Sugar is another option year to do grass cutting services within the Essex County Park System. You note the list attached of those parks that Sugar takes care of. We have a representative here from Sugar. I'd like to call him up.
Good evening. Clarence Nathaniel Skynes III, Project Manager of the Sugar Group, Sugar Property Services. Just a little bit about myself, resident of Caldwell, previously West Orange, previously Irvingston, previously Newark. Our company, located in East Orange, New Jersey, is also a WB company. Having been established in 1981, we've been providing services for the County of Essex for roughly 15 plus years. Snow removal, landscaping, build from the ground up at Turtleback Zoo, over 8 different projects there, multiple park renovations at Branch Brook Park. We're currently working at a couple of the parks now in a construction manner, and we've also been doing other property maintenance work for the county.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Palovecchio.
No questions.
Mr. Mackey.
No questions.
Freeholders, questions or comments? Hearing now, I need a motion to,
I'll move all of them, please.
which ones you moving?
9 through 15?
I asked her. 9 through 15.
Correct.
Thank you. There's a second. So Freeholder Seymour is moving them. Second by Freeholder Cooper. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Cooper?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson absent. Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado?
Yes.
Freeholder Palmeras?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson?
Yes.
Freeholder Seabold?
Yes.
Freeholder Gill absent. So moved.
Vice President, I have one
Yes,
question.
Freeholder
I have
Sebo.
one question before we move on. Where is Josh Zeitz tonight? Is he okay?
He's on vacation.
He's on vacation. Okay. He's entitled.
Mr. Vice
Thank you.
President, through you, if I may,
Freeholder Mercado.
just for the public record, we just recently completed the Cherry Blossom Festival, and I just want to commend Director Dan Cervanti and Deputy Director Kate Hardwick on the awesome, phenomenal job they did with this year's festival. We had the great weather that added to it, and the attendance at all of its activities was shot through the roof. It was really well-attended, well-organized, well-planned, and kudos to all the staff that put the time into it, and thank you very much for your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder.
We're going to take resolutions 16 through 19, and we're going to add 41 to that list as well, the added starter. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Valle is here to address these items.
Good evening, freeholders. Gerardo Valle, Senior Engineer with the Department of Public Works. Resolution 16 is a contract award to Shagar Property Services for snow and ice removal for various county buildings, such as the Hall of Records, Leroy Smith Public Safety Building, Historic Courthouse, and such. This contract will run from November 1st, 2019 to April 15, 2021. It is a 2-year contract, not to exceed $990,500. We do have Clarence Sconiers from Shagar.
Hello again, Clarence Nathaniel Skynes III, Project Manager of the Shagar Group. This is another extension of a project. We've been performing snow and ice removal work for the county for multiple years at these locations. We're very familiar, and we look to continue said work. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Palovecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No question.
Freeholder. Freeholder Palmeras.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I see coming up in 18, I know we're on 16, but we're in the process of purchasing some snow removal vehicles, and there are 10 of them. I guess my general question is, what impact does the addition of new vehicles, because if I recall correctly, this is not a replacement of existing, but it's a replacement and adding on to our fleet of snow vehicles. So what impact does that have in our not-to-exceed contracts? And do these public work trucks have no impact on the Department of Park, Recreation, et cetera, facilities? Or can you shed a little light for my clarification with that?
Certainly, Freeholder. The additional apparatus are really designed to help us become more responsive. We were all caught short at that first storm of the year, and the county executive directed that we would get additional equipment to allow us to respond internally quicker. And hopefully that will then also allow some of our contractors to focus on their given areas. But the idea of the additional equipment that we see for 18 and 19 is really to enhance our internal response capability.
Okay, so should we expect any change, any I mean, I don't know what the average snowfall is in removal, so I know that varies depending on the year. Should we expect any kind of change if we have an identical year to last year in terms of snow accumulations? or are we going to be able just to do more snow plowing?
I think the answer would be, we'll do a
effectively.
better job, more effective, be able to get out in the street more quickly. If you remember, one of the problems was our contractors couldn't get to us. So if we're able to clear some roads to enable them to get into us, I think we'll see a better response time.
And for clarification for the public, contractors have to come to our facility to get salt. So there's time in doing that, especially for, freakish snowfall that kind of happened unexpectedly. So the delay, we're hopefully going to avoid those kind of delays, and then hopefully increase the frequency of things that can get plowed over by having these 10, and we're just basically upping our services, is that?
That's correct, Freeholder.
Okay, great, thank you so much.
Want to move to any other questions or comments from the freeholders? Want to move to number 17, Mr. Jackson, please explain.
Mr. Valle.
Yes, Gerardo Valle, Department of Public Works. Resolution 17 is a contract award to T. Faris and Sons, Inc. for the collection and disposal of garbage, rubbish at various Essex County locations for use through various departments. This is a 24-month contract extension. It's an open-ended as-needed contract, not to exceed $1,096,837.60.
Mr. Polavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No question.
Freeholders, questions or comments? Hearing none. Let's move on to number 18, which will be read to the record at a later date. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Valle.
Gerardo Valle, Department of Public Works. Resolution number 18 is a contract award to Mid-Atlantic Truck Center to provide 14 new international plow trucks under the Middlesex Regional Cooperative Purchase Agreement. This amount is not to exceed $1,536,691. As stated, these plow trucks are for snow removal during inclement weather, so we can be more prepared. There are 12 5-yard dump trucks and 2 9.5-yard dump trucks included in this contract.
Mr. Polavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No question.
Freeholders. Move to 19, be read to the record at a later date.
Gerardo Valle, Department of Public Works. Resolution 19 is a contract award to Cliffside Body Corporation to provide 5-yard and 10-yard stainless dump bodies for the installation on the new plow trucks from Resolution 18. This amount is not to exceed $884,623.72, and it is also under the Middlesex Cooperative Purchasing Agreement.
Mr. Polavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
No question.
Freeholders, questions or comments? Let's move to item number 41, which is added starter. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I'm getting this. Yes, this is a contract, Mr. President, with Stroger Property Services to provide for landscape maintenance at the hospital center. And Mr. Sconiers is here again to address this.
Good evening. Clarence Nathaniel Sconiers III, Project Manager of the Shawer Group. This is a new contract, new location. We're looking forward to working here and providing the additional snow removal services for the county hospital.
Mr. Polavecchio.
No questions.
McInerney.
No question.
Freeholders. Questions or comments? Hearing none. I need a motion and a second to take 16 through 19
Motion.
and 41.
Second.
Motion made by Freeholder Cooper, second by Freeholder Graham. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Cooper?
Yes.
Freeholder Graham?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson, absent. Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado?
Yes.
Freeholder Palmeras?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson?
Yes.
Freeholder Seabold?
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill, absent. So moved.
All right. Let's move to resolution number 20, which we'll read into the record at a later date. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, this is a contract not to exceed $38,800. The Office of the Sheriff had to provide some additional replacement cameras and additional cameras at the Veterans Courthouse and also in the Gibraltar Building. Our agreement with Signal is that we provide the equipment and Signal installs it, and this is just reflecting of that additional requirement for security in these buildings.
Mr. Polavecchio.
No question.
Mr. McInerney.
No question.
Freeholders. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Need a motion and a second.
Move it. Second.
Moved by Freeholder Graham, second by Freeholder Cooper. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Seabold.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmeras.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson absent. Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill absent. So moved.
Okay, we're going to take resolution number 21, which will be read into the record at a later date. Mr. Jackson, please explain.
Mr. President, it's a contract award to DCO Energy, the sole and responsive bidder to provide building maintenance services at the Essex County Police Academy. And Director Perillo is here to explain.
Good evening, Anthony Perillo, Director, Essex County Police Academy. We have a contract for the maintenance services at the Academy, the boiler, electrical, roofing, any services we need within the facility. And we have DCO Energy here, Dave Delvecchia, the owner, to talk about it.
We appreciate David Delvecchio from DCO Energy. We appreciate very much the opportunity to perform this service at the Police Academy. We're doing similar services at the jail, the hospital center, the juvenile detention facility, and the VOTEC school. So we are very pleased to be able to do this, and we're happy to be part of your team, and I'm happy to take any questions anybody has for anything.
Palavecchia.
I don't have any questions.
McInerney.
This contract, like the other contract, still has a provision in it. This is really a question, I'm not making a statement. Does it have a provision in it whereby a certain amount of this $614,000 is allocated for parts and equipment that may be necessary in the course of operating this contract?
Yes.
And so if that's not used, or not used to the full amount, this contract would obviously be reduced, the amount expended.
Correct. It's a not to exceed.
Right. Thanks.
Freeholder Seabold.
Thank you very much. David Delvecchio and DCO Energy has been working for the county for quite a while, and they really do an excellent job, so I'm glad they're going to continue.
Thank you, Freeholder.
Any other comments, questions or comments? Hearing none, need a motion and a
I'll
second.
move it.
Moved by Freeholder Mercado, second by Freeholder Seabold. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Cooper.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson absent. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmeras.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Seabold.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill absent. So moved.
Thank you,
20.
Freeholder Vice President. Thank you.
22 has been withdrawn by the administration, and 42 has also been withdrawn by the administration. Let's move to accommodations 23 through 40.
Do you want to say anything about 40? That was the juvenile justice facility.
Yes, so, yes, Freeholder Seabold.
I'd like to just comment, first of all, item number 23, the commendation for Assemblywoman Ileana Pindor-Marin. I was at the Women of Excellence Luncheon, and I would just like to say that I was pleased that the Assemblywoman was honored, and she did a wonderful job at the luncheon. And also, number 40, that's with the Juvenile Justice Facility in the city of Newark opposing it. I'd like to be added to that resolution, or perhaps it could be by acclamation.
Absolutely. So just a little bit about the resolution. There was a proposal by the, I think it was the AG's office for the state, and they were looking at a site in the city of Newark to put a juvenile facility. And I am 100% opposed to any new jails of any kind in the city of Newark. Where you have, right now, you have the youth house, which is a juvenile prison. Let's call it what it is. And they have 230 beds and only 90 of them are occupied. So if you want to do something with the youth, you can retrofit or do whatever you need to do in that facility. It's already existing. And where they were looking to put that juvenile prison, I couldn't understand why they wouldn't even think of it, because what's the message? What would the message have been to our school children going to school, seeing a youth prison, leaving school, seeing a youth prison? What would the message have been? We have enough issues. We don't need a youth prison anywhere in the city of Newark. And I just go on a record and say we don't need any more of them, period. Right? We don't need any place else, especially with all the empty beds. So I hope you guys can sign on to this. We could do it via acclamation. Definitely opposed to any more youth prisons in the city of Newark and really anywhere else. So that's what it's about. It's about our kids. We need more education. Take that 160 million and do something on the front side instead of using it to incarcerate our kids. And you always got to look at the money, right? Always follow the money. Contracts, jobs. Who's going to benefit? It won't be the kids in Newark. So that's my 2 cents about a youth prison in my city. So, anybody like to be added?
Yes.
Acclamation.
Do it via acclamation?
Acclamation.
Thank you so much for your support. So we're going to take 23 through 40. Need a motion and a second.
One. So moved. 23 through 48, board.
Yes, as a whole. Yeah.
I'll move on.
Moved by Freeholder Seaball. Who's second? Freeholder Graham. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmeris.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson absent. Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Cooper.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill absent. So moved.
Thank you so much. I just want to add one other thing. I just want to make sure this gets to the governor's office, gets to AG's office, it gets Mayor Baraka's office, the city council of the city of Newark, and anybody else you think should get it. Make sure they all get it. Thank you. Okay. Report of board committees. So we have one report from last night, just a couple highlights here. So first of all, I want to thank the freeholders who were able to make it. I know we have busy schedules and everyone can't make it. So I want to thank the freeholders who attended the affirmative action meeting last night. So we talked about the administration, the utilize the freeholders and their social networks to better promote outreach as regard to MBEs and WBEs and VOBs, procurement initiatives. There was a representation was made that a memo from county council was circulated indicating that the county could not legally ascertain the demographic breakdown of MBEs. That memo was asked to be sent. We'd like to see it. Committee asked for a response as to how many vendors, contractors are from Essex County and who have filled out the aspirational goal. All right. Committee recommended the need to discuss a plan regarding the increase in numbers for set-asides and joint ventures, because what was presented to us, the numbers are abysmal. They were terrible, not very well done. And so I just want to put that on the record. So we request a correct calculation of 2018 to present. And also we discussed, after discussing and reviewing the information provided, the committee moved to recommend that the administration conduct another disparity study. And everybody, all the freeholders were in attendance, voted in favor of sending this to the administration of doing it. So I guess, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call? As all those who are in favor of another disparity study? We need a mover and a second.
Motion.
Moved by Freeholder Sebo, second by Freeholder Cooper. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Freeholder Cooper.
Yes.
Freeholder Graham.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson, absent. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmeris.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder Gill, absent. Freeholder President Gill, absent. So moved.
May I add?
Thank you. Yeah, Freeholder
May I
Sebo.
add something to thank us
Absolutely.
for being there yesterday at the meeting, but I'd also like to thank you for running such a good meeting yesterday. You didn't mention yourself, so I'd like to.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I may, I'd just ask if Madam Clerk could give the information request sent in writing to us so we can have to respond to the request of Mr. President.
Yes.
And Mr. President, I reviewed the request for a disparity study with the county executive this morning, and he was fully supportive, so we'll get that.
Outstanding. Very good, very good. Any legislative reports? Written communication? Unfinished business? New business?
Mr. President?
Yes,
If I may,
Mr. McInerney.
Mr. Vice President, I received the audit today for the Essex County Utility Authority and for the year ending 2018. And I just wanted to put something on the record in reviewing it, that the Essex County Utility Authority in the year 2018 reduced, through operations, was able to reduce its overall debt from $42,950,000 to $34,450,000. That's a decrease of $8.5 million. The total increase was $9.8 million, but the county contributed 1.8 from the appropriations in the county budget over to the ECUA to liquidate a note that's been on the books for at least 20 years. The $31,485,000 of debt that still exists on the ECUA's books will be fully liquidated by the year 2022, according to the audit. And so what we'll see is that we will have an Essex County Utility Authority that will not be required to make any debt service payments and will be free from any debt. And that's going to generate an additional amount of money that may very well impact on the tipping fees. I'm not saying it is one way or the other. It's not, that's not my job. But I'm saying that in 2022, without the need to make those levels of debt service payments, which are very significant, in the millions of dollars, that'll fall to the bottom line as profit. So the increase in cash this year was $1 million after paying down all the debt. Where in last year, they actually used $4 million. They were -4. This year, they were +1. So that's a $5 million turn. So I'm just, keeping the freeholders abreast of this other county agency that seems to have turned the corner over the last dozen years and is well on its way to be free of any debt.
Excellent. Thank you. Public comment. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak, please come up to the mic. Your name and affiliation. You have 3 minutes to speak.
I'm all right, Cowboy Ranch House, Newark. And I wanted to also speak that being around Newark in the parks for over 50 years, I see a lot of improvements and a lot of things happening in Newark that's bringing a lot of more people into Newark parks and recreation. It's been a bad name along the way and things that have been happening in Newark parks and things, but I was also trying to help get that rectified by knowing what to do and being around Newark, to where I said the police department is doing a good job for what they can do, and that there's all through the streets. That's all they do is go through the streets. But there's a lot more to that park. There's 311 acres in that park, and you just can't get to all that park through the streets. And I had mentioned a lot of times that I could stop a lot of that things that's happening around in Newark if they had high visibility, and even trying to get the police on horseback to be through that park. And you don't realize how beautiful that park is until you get on horseback going through that park. But they would get a lot more things done instead of those cameras up all over the park is one thing, but being there visible and high visibility, it would be helpful. But I've heard through the grapevine that they don't want horses in that park. And I'm being knocked down all the time by people asking people that's in charge about the horses. They think they have things that covered behind the police department and things like that. And also, I was trying to get to point to where Newark, being that I was the riding instructor for the Newark Mounted Police Squad, and they need help over there to that stable. And I figured maybe somehow that the county and the city could come together working with that police stable over there on Orange Street, and where I could train them and train the kids to be junior academies for the police department and make use of it, because they're spending a lot of money and they're not doing anything with that stable over there. But I don't know how the county and the city working together. But I also wanted to speak on, it was a big thing with that circus down there, and it was the Sports Authority. They did a wonderful job working with that carnival and to make it successful. And the parking and everything was free for the people. And that would brought a lot of people into being able to see that park, see that carnival. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. Name, Edward Du, citizen. Through you, Mr. President, or Vice President, you know about those fences. 2 years ago, or maybe longer, you brought it to this particular body about how bad they were. We've been getting everything done with just a tap on the shoulder. We've heard this stuff before. Weequahic Park is a beautiful park. At 504, it was made a historical site. 1 million people a year come through that park. And right next to an airport that has international flights. The park is known all over the world. And the way it looks like we in Essex County do not care about the park. The lake is contaminated. It's been contaminated since 1992 by the white chemical company that was on Freeholder Avenue. And it's still contaminated. The land in Weequahic Park is contaminated. But you don't worry about it. We can't have our kids to play around in the grass. Kids put things in their mouth. And through you, Mr. President, you know about it. You run that park every day, 2.5 miles around the lake. You see how the foliage is growing by. You can't see a family when they walk on the 22 side. We lose them for the foliage that's grown up. We have to do something. We thank you for what you have done and reported to this committee 2.5 years ago about the fences. And now we hear that they're going to take care of it. When? We've been after them for the last 20-something years to do it. We've been in the park as longer than the park director's been in office. Nothing is done. You can't get to them. Then you're talking about giving contracts to people to cut the grass. They don't do that. The snow. They get orders, make week the last one you clean up. Why? It is an international park. It's known all over the world. But yet, it sits in our neighborhood. Is that the reason? Answer me. Is that the reason? Because it sits in our neighborhood. You people are crazy. All you want to do is do, well, whatever you've been doing. It hasn't been right.
Thank you, Mr. Wadu. Your questions will be answered.
I hope so.
And if they're not, you see me. You know how to get me.
I will see you.
You can count on it.
You know that.
Good evening. I'm James Harris. I'm here representing the New Jersey Association of Black Educators, and welcome to the new freeholders that I haven't met. I look forward to working with you. Just a couple of things. First of all, I applaud the freeholders for taking the position of opposing the Youth Detention Center in Newark, and I agree completely. We do not need anything else in Newark that does not generate taxes. And we've in fact, if you really want to see something interesting, take a ride up to where the old jail used to be and look at what's up there now and compare it to what we're getting out of that jail down on Doremus Avenue. However, I see that we're opposing the jail. Could somebody tell me this on your item that talks about the contract with Salem Community, the Juvenile Detention Center, how many young people are we talking about putting in the Youth Detention Center, and how much will they generate to the county for each person over what period of time?
Go ahead, Mr. Polovec.
I think the testimony that we heard earlier in the meeting was one person, and sporadically. I can't remember what the amount was, somewhere $200-something per detainee.
Roughly $276.
Per day or per year?
Per day.
Per day.
Per day. But they only have one.
I think only one detainee.
It's only one.
Okay, thank you. Also, I want to thank the Freeholder Board for the resolution of accommodation number 38. I appreciate that. I was on it by the African American Heritage Foundation in Montclair, and we're hoping that all of you will come to our festival on the first Saturday in June. It has become a destination for many people in the state. I'm interested in the affirmative action piece. I understand that there was a committee meeting, and I would like to be invited to those meetings if they are public. And I would also suggest that you invite the People's Organization for Progress, the Urban League, the NAACP, and other minority-owned businesses. I'm really interested in knowing where we are with the ordinance that was passed when Assemblywoman Timberlake got it through this body that talked about what would happen with general contractors covering the subs. And as I recall, that whole thing said that the general contractors would provide the bonding for the
30
subs.
seconds.
And the whole thing was to get more minority contractors involved. And finally, the disparity study. We're going to do another one. We haven't implemented all of the recommendations that came out of the first one. So how much is that going to cost, and what is the timetable for the new study? And are we going to stop monitoring what is already obviously in need while we do a new study and buy more time and cost more money? What's the time frame on that? And I really want to know who gave the decision that it's illegal to ask for demographic data, race and gender, for people who do business with the county. How do you do an affirmative action monitoring if you don't know, if you don't have information about race and gender? Seems to be a contradiction, and I would love to see that email and to see which lawyer generated that, because I think there's some further discussion that needs to be had about that. Thank you very much for your service. Appreciate you.
Mr. Harris, we definitely make sure that we get your information. Your comments will be answered in writing, and duly noted those organizations that you referenced the next time we have an affirmative action meeting, we'll make sure that we reach out to them. But I just want to take one moment and say, one of the reasons why, we had the affirmative action meeting last night, and one of the reasons why we actually called for a disparity study was because those things aren't working. That ordinance that Timberlake put in has not truly been implemented. I think maybe 2 people or 2 minorities have gotten contracts. I don't know if any that have gotten any with any major contractor, minority contractor working together. I don't think it has happened. So that's why we're calling for the disparity study. But you will be informed next time we have an affirmative action meeting, so you can be present. And it is it's open to the public. So.
Thank you.
Freeholder comments. Freeholder Palmaris.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I'm working now with the Deputy Clerk, thank you, Madam, on a resolution, and I don't know that it has ever come out of this office or this body or now, but I'd like to see if we can have a resolution on the books in support of May as Historic Preservation Month. It may have been in the past, but it doesn't look like, at least in the short time that I've been here, it has been approved. So, Historic Preservation Month was initiated in like 1974 by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. By default, the East Coast is rich in history. By default, New Jersey is really rich in history, and Essex County being no exception to that. I alone am a part of a good number of restoration projects on behalf of the public interest with the Morris Canal Greenway, the historic Collins House, and professionally, I've worked in a variety of historic houses in the state. And my job has been to interpret them and to manage them and make them relevant in today's world. So I'd like to ask for my colleagues' support to have this resolution, but by acclamation, because while I have been, for my professional career, an advocate for this, this is more mainstream. Historic preservation has great benefits to the community. It can help drive business. It can make places a destination. It has a lot of upside. It can create jobs. And the resolution that we're preparing now is to that effect. And so I'd like to ask for all of your support so we can have this by acclamation so that we can demonstrate to other counties and to our municipalities who are the ones who have the historical societies, who have the historic preservation commissions, who have the historic districts, like I live in my town, to help acknowledge their work and to be another layer of support for them. Because the history, we're bound to repeat the mistakes of history if we don't know it. And these are the agencies, the people on the ground who keep it going. And as we all know, history isn't always beautiful. It is sometimes, it's wonderful, and it's ugly and dark, and those things need to be discussed. And so whatever the history is, be that what it may, historic preservation is about telling that story. And so it's important to me. And as a result, I'm asking all of you for your consideration. When that comes around, the Deputy Clerk will send it around shortly. We're just in the final stages of that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Madam Clerk, could you add me to 38?
Yes, yes, Mr.
African
Vice
American
President.
Heritage Parade?
38, mhm.
Thank you. Freeholders, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Freeholder Sebo, second by Luciano.